Hey, what's up? It's Edison here. I wanted to do this video just to show what I've been purchasing in January of 2021. And to start off like this video on what I've been buying up, I wanted to show like stuff that was for personal purchases. So right here we have the Illustration magazine. This came out, I think, like mid-January. It's just a Japanese illustration magazine. I'm not really sure like what conditions that they make these under, but it just includes like a lot of the Pokemon illustrations. So I think they just show, I just kind of skimmed through it. They show you a lot of the artwork that people have done for cards. I think, sadly, I can't read Japanese, but I assume they do talk about maybe the influences or where they got the idea. But this is really just a great resource if you are interested in Pokemon cards or Pokemon art, just to kind of have and see all this stuff. It shows you like the studio that they work in. And the main reason why the people seem to like this book, out of this hype about like this series of illustration books, is right here. We can see a Lotad artwork, and it shows us at the bottom, if you can see there, a Lotad card artwork. Now these are mock-ups. I think like the Pokemon Company has officially stated, these aren't going to come to real cards, but it's beautiful art. Like this Suicune is a fan favorite. I love this Grookey. There's a really funny looking Pikachu, right there. And they show you like what it would look like in a full art card form in the bottom. So there was speculation that this would be like the second round of Illustrator cards, or like almost like a Munch promo, something like that, like an artistic representation of Pokemon. But that's more or less been denied and confirmed to not be true. But as like a resource to have interesting Pokemon art, and if this really doesn't come out in a card format, this is the only way that you can really see this artwork. All right, but yeah, this was the first purchase. Next up was like completely unrelated to Pokemon, but I want to show it off in the channel because it's something that I'm going to be doing a lot more of like moving forward, is comic books. So right here is the Amazing Spider-Man, issue 41 from October. I think this came out in 1966. Part of the Amazing Spider-Man run. This is the 41st issue of the first run of Amazing Spider-Man. And this one is considered a key comic just because it features the Rhino. This one's pretty beat up. You can see like the tear on the front, like the creases. But I think like if I get this pressed and cleaned up, it'll grade decently. And it's a really nice artwork for a key Spider-Man character. Like I would say Rhino is one of the key villains within the Spider-Man series. So to have him, pick him up for like a pretty decent price, I couldn't really pass up. And the last personal purchase was Spider-Woman 1 from 1978. This is a pretty cheap book. I got it in a 9.4, already graded by CGC. I really like the artwork on the cover. So when I saw this ending an auction, I kind of like impulsively bought it for that. And then the other reason was, I do grade with CGC. Obviously, I have an account and I want to start grading comic books with them. So I wanted to kind of dip in and purchase some graded comics, already graded comics, to kind of just see, what the condition is, what it really means to be a 9.4 comic from CGC. But just really cool artwork on the Spider-Woman. So the first cards that I want to kind of go over on this video are going to be like this, I don't know, just I guess you could say like significant trainers or significant people. I've talked about some of these cards in the past video that I did, recommending stuff to invest in. So it's really just a continuation of that. So the first one is going to be this Professor Oak's card. Like English one has spiked. I know, and people kept asking me, I think when the way I talked about it, a lot of people thought I was saying buy the English version of the card. I had meant go buy the Japanese because the Japanese was significantly underpriced compared to the English. And I think for the most part, Japanese still is. So look, this is a Professor Oak card with the 3 Pokeballs. Very reminiscent of, how most people started the Pokemon game. You talked to Professor Oak, you chose one of the 3 starters, and you started like your first adventure into Pokemon. Next up, in that same vein, is going to be the Professor Birch card we've shown off on the channel. But I just love this artwork of Birch. Oh, and what I'm going to do moving forward is I'm going to show you the card and also put like the code of the card, maybe somewhere on the screen. So if you want to look for these cards online, sometimes the Japanese, the English translations on eBay are a little messed up or whack. So that you're not going to get them if you type in Pokemon Professor Birch Japanese. I would recommend you just type in the code. I don't know what this is called. Like the number out of the set, and just type like Pokemon number. And it'll bring up the exact Pokemon. It'll bring up the Pokemon card game with cards with this number. And this is what a lot of Japanese sellers will do. Okay, Professor Birch, nostalgic because he has the Johto starters. This was just a one of. I found this like lying on eBay for a relatively cheap price, like much cheaper than the other ones I saw, so I picked it up. It's just Brock. Not a great big fan of this artwork. We've seen this one on the channel too. This is just Red's Challenge, I believe. This one came in the English. This is another card that was grossly overpriced in English. And the Japanese one was still maybe, I think, at the time I bought this, it was maybe an eighth of the price of the English version. So I kind of just saw like, why not? And if you're going to get Red's Challenge, you got to get blues. Here's the blue one. More of a fan of the red artwork, but this is another good one in the sense that blue is a significant character to the anime, in sense of Gary or into the games. And if you're getting red and blue, then you got to get the tag team. And for all these cards I've just shown, same concept. English was grossly overpriced, in my opinion, for how much hype was pushed onto them. And Japanese was therefore undervalued because all this interest was on the English version. But not a lot of people have realized Japanese has the same artworks and they're a tenth of the price. There's no reason that you would buy the English. All right, here is red and blue. So next up, I want to talk about were waifu characters or like cute characters. This is just a demographic of cards that doesn't seem to it's not losing momentum. People still like these types of cards. So if you can find them for a decent price, get them graded, there's definitely going to be a collector that wants to be able to display and show off this type of work. So the first one here is going to be Whitney. I haven't shown this on the channel, and I'm going to I'm going to be a broken record at the end of this, but I bought all these cards because the English version was so expensive, but the Japanese one was a fifth of the price, a sixth of the price, up to like a tenth of the price. And obviously there's not as much demand for Japanese, but that's still such a huge gap in price that it really shouldn't exist. So yeah, I bought Whitney's up. Whitney's a really nice artwork. This is like the perfect card for the kind of go into the craze. I honestly forget this girl's name. Same idea. And if I'm just going to keep putting the code up because I'm not going to remember a lot of these characters' names. This one was expensive in English. I think this one's like 4 or 5 times more in English. I got these for like $12 a piece in Japan. So I'm happy with that purchase. My hand looks weird on camera. Oh, my hand looks weird. All right, but yeah, Golfing Girl. I'm not really sure. I think she's from Gen 5. This one I know. This one was something I was really excited for. It's Mars from Team Galactic. 2 specs on this is a really nice artwork of Mars. Interesting character. But then also, as I've mentioned before, they're teasing a Diamond and Pearl remake this year. So, if we take it as a speculative buy, we're probably going to see Mars again. She's one of the key figures in Team Galactic. You're going to see like a new rendition of her where there's going to be, better animation, hopefully. So people will be able to appreciate this character more. So yeah, Team Mars from Team Galactic. Just a really nice trainer card. So here's the Mina artwork. This is one of the artworks that we got in English. Same idea, just relatively undervalued. I would recommend you still look this card up on eBay and see if you can find the Japanese one for significantly cheaper. And, this might be a little bit of a cheat, but Japanese cards tend to be in better condition than English if you're buying them from Japan. If you're even buying from English sellers, just because the quality of the card stock is better. There's less factory flaws from what I've noticed. So even the same thing, you're paying less money for a card that will likely grade higher if you send it off to grading. I think that really, really just a no-brainer. So yeah, Mina. This is the artwork that we got in English. And then here we have one that didn't come over in English. This is from Tag Team All-Stars. This is a lot of people's preferred artwork of her, holding the paintbrush out, really just vibing with the whole character look. But yeah, look into this one because it's a Japanese exclusive artwork. And then this one was Lily's Full Force. This is one of those cards that I do really recommend you search by the SKU. Lily's Full Force is a pretty long name, so sometimes it won't show up if you type that into Google Translate. But yeah, this one was just really cheap in Japanese compared to English. English was like over $150, I think, for this card, which is also really cheap for a Lily card. But this one was, I think I paid $30 a piece for this one in Japan. Like, just the discrepancy doesn't really make sense. The artwork's the exact same, the character's the same, and if I can save money and get a higher grade, I'm just gonna buy this version. Yeah, this is the last of like the cards I bought specifically for the waifu idea. But yeah, here we just have a bunch of these full art trainers. I'm gonna put the code. There's 4 different variations for them. So yeah, this is 1, 2. I'm just gonna quickly go through. I only got one of these because I only found one for a decent price. And then yeah, I don't even know the name of this character in the story. I know they're in Hidden Fates. Like they're part of the Hidden Fates full art sets. but it was a card that features a female character that was significantly undervalued in Japanese. So I picked it up just to add to the collection. And this is, I think, one of the ones that you're going to see today that is still very easy to find, for around $15 a piece. So I think this is a pretty good buy still. I meant to show this card too with the other significant story characters, but this is just Steven from Hoenn. Really popular character. They kind of made him an overarching force in the Pokemon series. So I do think that Steven is one of those guys that just has staying power. So if you can find this card with the code, as I said, that code in the bottom, just look for it. If you could find it for a decent price, I would say I'd probably pay like $15 for this, but $15 for a mint condition card, pretty good price. The next cards I'm going to show you are kind of just like a mixed bag. This is like stuff that you eventually will pick up more as you kind of become more well-versed in what does well in Pokemon. So instead of like finding trends like I've shown in the past, this is stuff that's more grounded, so to speak. Like there's not as much hype on the stuff I'm about to show you, but I think the long-term fundamentals make sense. So this is a Poipole card. You can see at the bottom, I'm going to show you too, it's 202 SM-P. This is a shiny promo card you got in Japan for purchasing Forbidden Light. So I think I might be mistaken, but it was something like you bought Forbidden Light booster packs. I think you had to buy 5. You got a promo card, but you had a chance to get the shiny version, which was a holo, or you got a regular version, which I think the regular version also came in English. I'm not sure if this came in English. But yeah, a shiny Ultra Beast. It has the stamp in the corner as well. This was like $1 a piece when I picked them up, so I just grabbed all that I could find in stock. Yeah, super simple buy. $1 a piece for a shiny Pokemon that's a promo, Japanese, grades well. I think that's like stuff, that's a bunch of checklists that you should familiarize yourself with. I've talked about this in other videos, gold cards. This card and those cards have really spiked. I do still think they're a pretty good buy for considering like how hard they are to pull, as I mentioned. As I said in the past, you have to open around 10 booster boxes to get one of these gold cards because it's, I think, 2 per case, which is 20 boosters. Conceptually, all that's really changed is the set is now out of print, so the booster box is more expensive. So even now that the booster box is more expensive, the principle still holds that instead of maybe it used to be $50 a booster box, you're paying $100 a booster box. So now it went from you have to open $500 a product to get one, now you have to open 1,000. So that idea still stands that the amount of product that you have to open to get one of these cards is the same, but now the cost to go into them has gone up. So if you could still purchase these for, I would say, like sub $70, sub $60, I think it's a good price. You can definitely get these like Lucario Melmetals. This is the cheaper ones. The next one up is going to be Victory Medals. This is a trophy card that was given out in 2006. You can see on the bottom. And there is no like code that you could search. You're going to just have to type in 2006 Victory Medal on eBay or get the translation for that for Japan. But yeah, it's just Pikachu holding this little medal right here. These were given out for players. I don't even think you had to win to get one of these. I think it was kind of like a participation trophy. I might be mistaken, but this one was just a really interesting card, mint condition, and for a price that I thought was fair. So yeah, I would say if you can grab these for maybe like $60, $70, and think about that. If you can grab this for $70, what are you buying? You're buying a trophy card given out Japan only, Japan exclusive artwork in 2006. They did make a lot of them, but just it's a Pikachu holding a victory medal. There's a lot of significance in terms of Pikachu holding trophies. And so, I don't know, there's like a lot of stuff like that I think made this a smart buy. So I bought 10. And the last, like this pile, I talked about it in that video about the set, Single Strike and Rapid Strike. But this is the Empoleon alt art. This is the only alt art I bought. I will preface it by saying that. Because the rest of them are like really, really expensive off the bat. And this was the cheapest one on release. But I love this artwork. Empoleon right there. This is a pretty rare card. I don't have the exact pull rate, but I assume it's pretty rare, pretty hard to pull. Yeah, look into the alt arts from this set. I'm going to put the code up for this one, but just go online, search up the set list, and go through. Look for the Urshifu online. Look for the Tyranitar. Because I think those are pretty hard cards to pull. So if you can get them for below, the 30-day average on eBay, I think that you should just go for them. But yeah, great card. Next one, Super simple idea is Pikachus. Don't bet against Pikachu. I've always mentioned this. Buy Pikachus. Look for exclusive Pikachu promos. Look for Pikachu artworks. This is something I'm going to show you now. These are Pikachus that are exclusive to Japan. And do the same thing. Look for like the more obscure Pikachus that are still pretty cheap, pretty undervalued. Here we have a 7-Eleven promo. To my knowledge, I think you got this from, it was like a blister pack. I'm going to put the code up so you could search for this. I just thought it was nice artwork of Pikachu with that 7-Eleven stamp. But yeah, as I said, I think it comes out in a blister pack that released in 7-Elevens. We bought a bunch of those. And then this is another one that has got on a lot of hype. Surfing Pikachu. This is for a Pokemon Center opening, I believe. I'm going to put the code up for you. But it's a Surfing Pikachu. The card, the idea of Surfing Pikachu is a significant, like in terms of the history of the TCG, of Pokemon in general. And this is like the first time they've done like a new version of the card. And I think a lot of people do agree with me that this is a really nice artwork for Surfing Pikachu. So yeah, look into that. Pikachu doing unique things like this always do well. Next, like a little bracket of stuff that you should look into, Japanese hyper rares. I cannot stress this enough. Trainer cards, there was a huge discrepancy in price between the English and Japanese. And the same applies to hyper rares. Hyper rares are, I think, just as hard, if not harder, to pull in Japanese because of how they classify, I think, the secret rares. But like, it's the same exact artwork, and the quality of the card stock is good. So we have Blastoise and Piplup. This one was, I think, like a sixth of the price of the English one. The English of a lot of these hyper rares got really expensive, so I picked up the Japanese where I could. And I think you should still look into this because I think there's still room for entry. Here we have Venusaur and Celebi. Significant Pokemon, popular Pokemon, hyper rare, very rare. Like, you can't go wrong with a tag team of them. And then this was like just the last one. I picked up a bunch of these because they were relatively cheap. But yeah, just Blastoise on his own hyper rare. Same concept. Very expensive in English, somewhat undervalued in Japanese. For a rare card, for a popular Pokemon. Like, those like set off alarms in my head that I should just purchase them. So yeah, Blastoise hyper rare. And the last significant bracket that I want to talk about is Charizards. These are the Charizards that I'm speccing on. I'm going to show you the code so you can search them up yourself. But yeah, the first one is Charizard VMAX. Japanese Charizard VMAX is a $25, $30 card. I think in some cases you can maybe even get them for, it goes up to like $40. To buy this. Like, the Japanese VMAX Charizard only came out in a Japanese theme deck. That theme deck I'm selling for $70 to $80 on eBay right now. Right? Like, I'm selling out at that price. So the only card you want from the theme deck is the Charizard. So why would you ever purchase the Charizard for the deck for $80 if you want the VMAX when you can just buy the Charizard in the theme deck for $35, get it graded? This is one of those cards where you could 3-4 times your money buying it raw and then grading it. And it's just sitting on eBay. So definitely look into the Japanese Charizard VMAX. Yeah, I bought quite a bit because I found them on sale, so I just went all in. And then the next one is this Charizard EX. I love this artwork for this card. I think this version came over to English in a tin promo, but if you see, it has the 20th anniversary stamp. So this card's 5 years old now. It's still relatively affordable in Japan and in America too. I think you can find it on eBay. Great artwork for Charizard. Look into it. Just a couple of things. Just cheap Charizard artwork. Relatively old at this point. Yeah. And the last one is Charizard EX. This is one that came in Evolutions for English, I believe. But if you can search the code up. You can really just go on eBay, type Charizard EX in Japanese, in English, I guess, and search by Japanese sellers, because this card was reprinted like ridiculously in Japan. So you can find so many different variations at different prices, and you can probably scoop up this artwork for pretty cheap, while the Evolutions one is still pretty expensive. And that Evolutions one isn't going to get cheaper in regards to how the Evolution box prices are trending, but you can still get the Japanese one for cheaper. I think that's a good idea. And to end this video off, I want to do some honorable mentions. This is the Pokemon Center Lady promo card. I don't remember what set this was a promo for in Japan, but it's one of those like Japanese set promos where they just put the stamp on the card. This card came over in English. It's expensive in English, and the Japanese one has kind of risen with it. I think because it's an exclusive promo. But yeah, look into this card. I still think you can get it for around 40, 50 bucks, and I think that's a pretty good buy for what it is. And then the next buy after that is Snorlax. This is a Korokoro promo card, comes out in the Korokoro magazine. I think you can find them on eBay with the magazine or without the magazine for like 30 bucks. I think that's a good price. It's a promo card for the newest Japanese set, Rapid Strike and Single Strike Master. It has the stamp right there, really nice colors. I think this is the Rapid Strike, Single Strike stamp in the top. Yeah, I purchased quite a bit of these. I picked them up for around $20 a piece plus shipping. I think they've gone up to around $25, $30 a piece. But this is one of those ones where it's a Japanese promo card, comes out only in a magazine that releases in Japan, has an exclusive stamp. Snorlax is a popular Pokemon. It's like hitting a lot of those check marks for me for this is a card to buy. This is a card to speculate into. All right, that's going to be it for this video. I have another video coming up pretty soon of a 400 card CGC submission I'm doing. And I hope that these videos kind of help give you a direction on what to buy. As I said in the past, this is my personal opinion, but I think it does kind of help some people decide what they want to buy into, follow the trends, just kind of get some information from me. I do like being helpful in that regard. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Always appreciate the support.